As the Social Democratic Party faces a challenge to its national leadership, the chairmen of the party in the 36 states of the Federation have debunked the existence of differences in that party. They also passed a vote of confidence on the national chairman, Olu Agunloye, and national secretary, Shehu Gabam. The backing comes weeks after a faction led by Abdul Isiaq said it has suspended Agunloye and Gabam for alleged misconduct. The SDP is the fourth largest political party in Nigeria, and as the nation gears up for the next round of elections, Nigerians who are dissatisfied with the performance of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, or the major opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, will be looking up to the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, the SDP, and other parties to make a choice. In some states like Ekiti and Osun states, there are ongoing talks that aggrieved contestants in the bigger parties could dissolve into other parties like the SDP. But there are now questions on how the SDP can harvest from the challenges in the three other bigger political parties when it is yet to put its own house in order. Well, I'm glad to say that I'm joined now in the studio by the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, Dr. Olu Agunloye. Good to have you, Dr. Agunloye.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about this vote of confidence by your 36 states chairman and that of the FCT on your leadership of the party. What does this mean to you now, considering all we've been hearing about the crisis in the party, no crisis in the party, and all of that?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. But let me put some records straight here. I will get to that point, but let's move back a little bit. Number one point, in Nigeria, where you and I are members and citizens and our families live, things are not where we want them to be. Things are not going the way we want them to be. In fact, we can say we are not where we want to be. There's no time for me to catalog the woes that have come upon us. Even if I have the time, I will not want to dwell on it rather than dwell on what we want to do. But it's from that point of view that we now decide, look, a situation where people are deciding between the devil and the deep blue sea, it's not a good situation. A situation where people are looking for a choice between devil number one and devil number two.
Who are the devils you're actually referring to here?
And then now the question here is that, so what do we do? So
yeah, and that's why I was like, who are the devils that you're actually referring to here?
Nigeria says so that the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Okay, the angel you don't know. You were talking here that the two parties that had ruled this country for 23 years, the APC and the PDP, they have done their best, but that best has not been good enough. The scorecards show that, and this is not the time to dwell into that, but we want to provide a viable and virile alternative. So in doing that, we have to set internal rules first, okay? This is what we are going to do, this is the way things should be done. And also, we need to open our gates and open our mindset to allow other people to come in and to fill in and go along the principles that we believe in. We are one party that is not ashamed to say we have an ideology. We have an ideology, we have a set of principles. We are social democrats, and we believe in the principles of social justice. We understand that in political system, all sorts of people can come in. But when you come in, it's like, okay, the rules here are like this, and the objective here is very straightforward. The objective here, in particular, is power. Power in the hands of social democrats for the emancipation and empowerment of the people.
Yeah, so you're trying to provide an alternative to the APC and PDP. But the SDP itself has been enmeshed in the same challenges that we have in the APC and
that is where
PDP.
We're going to. In the attempt to do that, we need to create some kind of decorum, some decency, and some discipline. So where we take such decisions, okay, it could be a hard decision, but it had to be taken. It is one of them that a senior officer of the party was suspended for misconduct, gross misconduct for that matter, after he has been queried, and then the National Working Committee met, and 9 out of 11 people accepted members that he should be suspended. So after that suspension, what we find are the things that he had decided to do. We suspend you back, we did this and so on.
As you're talking of Abdul Isiaq here.
Abdul Isiaq, okay? But we know, and you know too, that when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. When you fight misconduct, misconduct fights back. So we're not worried, we're not surprised about that. And then that Abdul is fighting back, it's okay, all right? Our minds are still open, our doors are still open, and we know that we do the best because we are preaching for social justice. So we provide it. So what you saw yesterday was the situation where the 36th state chairman and the FCT chairman all came together on a retreat to endorse the actions that have been taken to instill discipline in the party, and also to encourage the party by aligning with the set rules that we are putting together to attract different presidential candidates.
Very interesting. Now, the SDP in the 2019 general election was a bit strong. You came up with Donald Duke as your presidential candidate. But after the 2019 election, we've seen Donald Duke leave the party. We've seen people like Professor Jerry Ghana leave the party, and others, including this Abdul Isiaq, who was the collation officer of your SDP primaries, presidential primaries then. Isn't there this fear that SDP is losing grounds? Because even the only House of Rep member you had in the House of Representatives has moved to the All Progressives Congress. What are you doing to halt this defection, and then so that you also don't shift ground and lose that position as the 4th largest party in the country? Exactly.
That is what we are doing at the moment. First, Donald Duke did not leave the party. Donald Duke was suspended from the party. Professor Jerry Ghana was expelled from the party. These are what you called earlier in the talk big week, okay? But such tough and hard decisions had to be taken. Otherwise, you will keep repeating the same mistakes and so on. And we know that this is 2022. The same people who came before will try to come back again.
When they lose out in the APC or PDP?
Yeah, so in the process of getting ready for the influx, in the putting our house in order, we have to take decisions, okay? And then we have to make sure that you can't be beaten 2 times. Because once you are beaten 2 times, you become stupid.
Okay,
so we know how they did it the last time.
Now let me just come straight to this, because you have touched on the issues going on in Osun and Ekiti State, where some people who have lost out in the APC and PDP are beginning to think of having SDP as a beautiful bride. How are you ensuring that as they are coming in, or they also abide by these reforms or rules that you said you're putting on ground to safeguard the interests of the party?
Exactly. So what we do is that we anticipate this will happen. We position and reorganize the party to withstand this. And as we open our doors, the principles are also open along with it, okay? And we know that this is not an NGO. This is a political party. So some operations, some strategies are required. And I can tell you that in Ekiti especially, a lot of negotiations and discussions have been going on. Then I can also tell you that some of the people who are eyeing and discussing with us are also doing their due diligence to find out, is this party exactly what we think it is, okay? And they are doing that, and we have allowed them. Some have come to us, even as of this afternoon, asking questions, asking to see some of the paper. We are letting them.
If you have the structures.
Okay? So, but the structure, we are the number 3 party. The structure is there, the structure has to be strengthened, the structure has to be stabilized, and that is why those chairmen came here. Because the chairmen are our own national chairmen in the states, okay? Then the position is very clear. So we are making sure that what happened in the past will not happen again. Then we are also aware, and that is why we are at the forefront of alliance and alliancing in Nigeria, that people will come together, realignment will be done, And we have to position ourselves to be able to accept.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to ask, if you're planning to be part of the third force that we have been hearing, though initially you said you weren't going to be part of it. And then also, we haven't heard presidential candidates coming out of the SDP more.
Oh, no, that's not
Just
correct.
only one person that we heard
Two
saying
people,
that he may,
really,
and they are not so popular.
But that's a different. But let me quickly talk about this issue of third force. Third force, it had been a very abused phrase. Okay, as a paramilitary man, as a man who had a paramilitary agency in Nigeria for 7 years, as a former Minister of Defense, I know that third force is a military term. Okay. But you seem now to have third force being an acronym, like a chieftaincy title. Third force every time, there's a perpetual third force. Okay, we are not looking at that. We are not part of that. Sometimes we are not sure.
All right, I've been told that we're going on break. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. You're still watching the Arise interview, plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the conversations. I'm Sumner Sambo, and we've been taking a look at the Social Democratic Party and developments there. And I still have with me in the studio Dr. Olu Agunloye, who's the national chairman of the party. And I was just talking about the presidential candidates we haven't heard from so many people. I think only one person has indicated. And if you want to take over power by now, we should be hearing more from your party. So very quickly, as we try to round off the conversation, yes. What's happening?
Well, it's not correct. Two people have come up, and what we have done is to set up again standards and streamline how this will be. Yesterday, as we were finishing at that press conference, one more presidential aspirant or hopeful came up also. So at the moment, we have about 6 or 7, okay, from the south, and about 4 or 5 from the north. And we have said to them, follow the following steps, okay? And then you bring a letter of intent and you go this way, go this way. 2 people have done that so far. The first person to do so is the political scientist who is well known, Professor Femi Olufumilade, okay? And then, of course, this is a radical activist that is known. He's about 52 years old. And then now another person came in from Niger State, that is Dr. Dorothy Nuhu Akenova. Okay, it's another activist, right. And she's about 50-something.
So there's still like a huge intent.
Two people have come formally, okay. But informally, one came yesterday. That will make 8 from the south. Okay, and then people are coming, and then there's another case who is trying to come in strongly, and who is trying to bring in letter of intent with 200 people. And we said, no, this is not a declaration. Come in with modest number of people, and this is still going on. And
all right. I'm afraid we've run out of time because we have to take others. But we must thank you so much, Dr. Olu Agunloye, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, for joining us to take a look at your ideals and how you're struggling to ensure that Nigerians accept you with your social democratic policies. Now, to the other side of the conflict in Nigeria's Social Democratic Party, joining me now from Kaduna is Abdul Isiaq, who is talking about some of the issues surrounding the party's leadership. Also, in the spirit of fairness, Arise would want to just also hear from him. And I've just been told that he is joining us right now. So we'll be having him join us from Kaduna. What exactly do you make of the issues that are going on in the SDP, considering that there is now a vote of confidence by the 36 state chairman and that of FCT, making it 37 on the national leadership of Dr. Olu Agunloye and Shehu Gabam as national secretary?
Thank you. My name is Dr. Abdul Isiaq. I'm the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party. And your question of the former acting national chairman, Dr. Olu Agunloye, and the former national secretary, Shehu Musa Gabam, they are no longer, they are on suspension. This suspension comes from NEC. And I learned that they said in your studio one time that I have been suspended. The letter of suspension is here right with me. You read it, it's a 2-page suspension letter. You read from beginning to the end. There is no single paragraph that said it was the decision of the NWC. Was Dr. Abdul Isiaq called? No. Was he given fair hearing? No. Was a committee set up to look at this issue? No. It was just a handwriting of 2 people, Dr. Olu Agunloye and that of Shehu Musa Gabam. But that's not the issue. After that, provisions of SDP Constitution 2018 as amended, section 1421, said that the National Executive Committee, NEC, can call for a meeting anytime. Suffice, it gives 7 days notice. And we did that. We give 9 days notice. And you can see in their letter, they are saying we had an NEC meeting, which means they are aware. In that very NEC meeting, those people they claim they have suspended, including my humble self, didn't go inside the hall. And the cameras, even your cameras were there. So what happened inside the hall is that the suspension was thrown out because it lacks merit and there is a lot of irregularities. And those of Kano and that of Anambra was, the suspension was lifted. And that is when we were announced to come inside the hall.
All right, very interesting development indeed. But what will you say to the fact that the Agunloye leadership is the one that's recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission as the acting national chairman of the party? You yourself was one-time acting national chairman of the party, but because INEC wrote back to the party to say that that the acting national chairman of the party should come from the same zone where the former national party chairman was from, that's Professor Tunde Adeniran. That's why you had to be set aside. And that is why Dr. Olu Agunloye is being recognized by INEC, because he comes from the same zone as the former national chairman who resigned. So what do you make of that?
This statement is half-truth, and I'll tell you what happened. When in 2019, the former national chairman of Social Democratic Party, Chief Olu Falaye, GCO and CFR, decide that he's going to resign from active politics. He transmitted a letter, which I have a copy and I'll give it to you. He transmitted a letter to INEC saying that from today, that is, are you with me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he transmitted a letter to INEC saying that he has stepped down from active politics, and the deputy national chairman from his zone. That time, were 2 deputy national chairman. I'm the deputy national chairman north, where Professor Tunde Adeniran was the deputy chairman south. And in line with our constitution, when Falaye is going, it means that the deputy national chairman from his zone takes over. And that was Professor Tunde Adeniran. And went on, in that letter, Chief Falaye said that, go and complete my tenure. And this my tenure, in that letter, second paragraph, he said my tenure will expire on Friday, 9th of March 2020.
So when
Professor Tunde Adeniran,
in other words, are you saying that tenure has expired? Is that what you're saying? And so Dr. Olu Agunloye shouldn't have continued?
No, it's not that he shouldn't have continued. He has no tenure at all to come in. This is illegality and we must get it right.
So have you written INEC?
Because there's no tenure in the first place. We have written INEC about this irregularity. And we told INEC that there was no tenure for this person, so that INEC will stop recognizing this illegality, so that we can get it right.
But you were expelled from the party after being suspended previously, and they said that based on the allegations that are going around, that you were actually making certain requests from certain politicians on behalf of SDP, and because of that, the neck of the party actually decided to suspend you. What do you make of those allegations?
No. Since Dr. Olu Agunloye come to the party, he has not attended NEC for once. Up to yesterday. Yesterday was one kind of meeting. It was not a NEC meeting. It is only Dr. Abdul Isiaq, my humble self, that had a NEC meeting on 22nd of January this year. So where will they have powers to do certain things that he said? So Dr. Agunloye is a product of NWC. That is why he cannot call himself national chairman. That is why we are calling him acting national chairman until his suspension. And what causes his suspension? I will tell you. Constitutional breach. Number one, he has never conducted a NEC meeting that was supposed to be in our constitution quarterly. He has never called for, he only called for NWC meeting 4 times. And I come every week from Kaduna to attend that NWC that we never had. That is another breach. The biggest of them all is the scam that happened in Anambra State. And what happened in Anambra State is that we have a candidate called Obinna Uzo that has never come to the party, that did not collect letter of intent, that did not pay for nomination form, and yet from behind the door, behind channels, we call it, they smuggled him in. As I'm talking to you, most of the NWC members don't know this person.
Okay,
and this person say he has made some financial commitment to the party. And we don't have it in our record.
Now, you are also making these allegations without being in possession of the secretariat of the party. The Agunloye-led national leadership is in charge of the party's national secretariat in Abuja. Is still filing candidates with INEC and all of that. Don't you think that you're actually trying to make create more chaos in a party that is already divided, in a party that Nigerians are looking up to actually see as a succor to the APC, PDP, or even ABGA?
Thank you about the position of Nigeria, but we must get something right. This thing is about right or wrong. It is about right or wrong. The right thing about the secretariat is that the owner of that secretariat has chased us out of that secretariat. And this has been 6 months ago. Why my group are so annoyed with this, we got access to funds that went into the private pocket that we are not able to pay for that secretariat. As I'm talking to you today, Friday, there's a notice in that secretariat that we should leave in 24 hours. So which secretariat are you referring to? But we are trying to get a befitting secretariat, and I'm going to assure you in the next 2-3 weeks, we are going to come there and we are going to call you to come and help us to commission it. Now, so Nigerians, we cannot deceive Nigerians. We must get it very clear. And the clarity is about wrong or right. Dr. Olu Agunloye has no tenure. Dr. Agunloye has violated the constitution of SDP 2018. Dr. Agunloye has no tenure that is there. And why will he sign any document?
As we try to round off this conversation, how do you think that there can be reconciliation in the SDP to ensure that Nigerians have an alternative party that they can actually go for if they are unhappy with other political parties?
Very interesting, very interesting. As I'm talking to you, we have set up some reconciliation move. Yesterday we met with the group of Shoni Bare group, who has been in court against SDP for more than 2 years. And we are reaching some understanding. And what is this understanding? The understanding is that since the tenure of ESCO has expired, we should form a caretaker committee. And caretaker committee will consider zoning. And that zoning will lead us to convention. Simple and short. And that is what we are calling for.
Okay. As we try to end this conversation very quickly, I would just want to ask you why the big wigs in the party are leaving. We've had Professor Jerry Ghana leaving, Donald Duke leaving, and so others. Isn't it because party chieftains like you are not creating the conducive atmosphere?
No, it's not like me. Party leaders like them has, because of impunity, because of intimidation, because of threat, people like them, chase people out of the party. But we have been talking to them, and they are willing to come back to the party. Dr. Olu Agunloye is from Ondo State. The only elective person we have in the assembly from his own, close to his own town, has left this party.
All right, we must thank you so much.
Because of this impunity.
Abdul Isiaq.
So we are calling on Nigerians that we are going to get it right.
A chieftain of
and we are going to invite everybody back on board.
A chieftain of the Social Democratic Party who is now referring to himself as a factional national chairman. Well, we've given you an opportunity to actually prove yourself and tell the world what exactly are the grievances you have against the Olu Agunloye leadership of the Social Democratic Party. And we must thank you and Dr. Olu Agunloye for joining us on the show.